welcome to the Art with World. I am your host WAHEED. Today we will discuss basic features of classical music in Pakistan and what is the state of affairs these days. And to discuss this, we have a very brilliant musicologist with us, Saqib Sultan sahab, and he's very kindly spared time for this program. He is a musicologist, poet, and himself an accomplished singer. Thank you very much, Saqib sahab, for being with us this evening.
Thank you.
To start with, I would like to, for the benefit of our viewers as well, what we understand by classical music, what are its various forms? Would you like to shed light on that?
Well, classical music, as we know it all, is a result of centuries of artistic work of a culture or a society. And all the cultures in the world, I think, have classical music.
Yeah.
In our classical music, we have khayal, thumri, dadra, and now also ghazal.
Okay. And Qawwali can
Well,
also.
yes, indeed. Qawwali is part of classical tradition. It's
Okay.
not known as pure classical, same as ghazal. Ghazal is
Okay.
also not pure classical, it's semi-classical.
Uh-huh.
And Qawwali is also semi-classical. But I think these days we don't need to draw these distinctions.
Okay.
It is classical.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when we look back, when we were children, we used to listen various programs of classical music from radio, from TV, and we had great singers. What has happened over all these decades? We don't find them as much as we want to listen to on TV or other music shows.
Yeah, I think we had a bouquet of musicians and artists, singers, when Pakistan came into being. I mean, we have names like Ustad Bade Ghulam Ali Khan, Ustad Salamat Ali Khan, Ustad Amanat Ali Khan, Fateh Ali Khan. All great names, Roshan Ara Begum.
Of course.
I'm focusing on the classical ones, but we had great artists. I mean, a great tradition, and a great, I would say, panorama of artists with variety of subjects and areas of specialities, especially like in ghazal. We had a very, very strong tradition. People like Barkat Ali Khan Sahab, Mehdi Hasan Khan Sahab, Ghulam Ali Sahab, Hussain Bakhsh, Gullu Khan Sahab.
Yeah.
They were all
Iqbal Banu,
Iqbal Banu, Farida Khanum, indeed, and Abida Parveen ji.
Yeah.
So I think these are artists which are matchless in the whole world. So particularly in the tradition of ghazal and also in the tradition of classical music, of khayal gaiki, I think Pakistan has one of the richest cultural heritage in the world. People like, as I mentioned, Salamat Khan Sahab, Amanat Ali Khan Sahab, Fateh Ali Khan Sahab, Ghulam Ali Khan Sahab. These were all icons. They were giants of their times. I'm sorry if I have missed any great names, because we indeed had many, many more great names. But then it's a tragedy, I think, whatever happened to our great tradition of music. I mean, we do not see people singing classical like that today, people singing ghazal like that today. We drifted away from our heritage. And I think it was related to socio-economic causes also, the crises that the nation saw, the social transformation processes that we underwent, and especially the financial hardships. And then overpopulation also. I'm not a sociologist, but I can relate things that there were many, many factors, cultural, economic, social factors, which led to the downfall of classical music. And
could you explain these factors further?
Well, just as I said, that people who once used to patronize such arts, they didn't do that anymore, or I mean, they had probably a downfall at some more. The new lot actually didn't have that much of an interest in the classical music and in our classical traditions. But at the same time, I think the tastes of the people, they also deteriorated.
You would say deteriorated, you would say it changed?
I would say deteriorated.
Okay.
Uh, sorry for being so
No, it's
rude
fine.
and direct.
I want to
but,
hear your views.
Yeah, change
Yeah.
is a must. Things
Mm.
will change for the
Mm.
better or for the worse. In my eyes, as far as classical music is concerned, or our musical tradition is concerned, which is centuries old, right, rather thousands of years old, millenniums old,
Mm.
this tradition needs to be, promoted, preserved, loved, practiced. But unfortunately, how many do you see? I mean, the kind of music we have today, yes, we have pop, we have some Sufi kind of music going on today. Yes, Sufi music. We had Qawwali, we had Kafi in our traditional music. These were the two forms of Sufi music. But today we have with the fusion music, like the fusion of Western and Eastern music, and Qawwali and some other forms of music, we have created a new genre, which is Sufi music. We should never be, averse to change, and we should accept and embrace innovation. And yes, I am for it. There's no harm in it. But the actual tradition of Kafi is dying down. The actual tradition of Qawwali is still alive because of mainly Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan Sahab and other people who have carried on with that tradition. Indeed, Ghulam Farid Sabri Sahab, and they all have this credit. But Ghazal, Thumri and Khayal, they are particularly on the downside. I think people don't want to listen to them much, don't want to sing them much also. And that's the most precious tradition that we have. Why? There is one very special element, and that is the element of knowledge. Not just cultural heritage, not just your emotional expression, but it's your intellectual stimulation. It is a field of knowledge. The classical music is a field of knowledge. Folk music is not, or pop music is not. Classical music is a field of knowledge, and to learn that and to even understand that, you need years of reading, practicing, and of course listening. So I think this is the story of classical music in Pakistan.
Well, you have talked of fusion and hybrid music, as people call it. But I will have a discussion on that later on. But before, maybe for our viewers, if you could briefly explain what we understand by Khayal Gaiki, Durpat, and other forms of classical music.
Okay. Well, I think the best thing is to demonstrate, but I will try to explain it. Khayal Gaiki is basically the purest form of classical music. Okay, now a khayal is normally sung anywhere from 10 minutes to 1 hour, or even more than that. And the main difference between khayal gaiki and the light music or the music of today is that in khayal gaiki you just have some rules. It's like grammar. You are given certain notes that, okay, these are the notes that you can use in this one rag or raga. You cannot go out of these notes. This is the Wadi note, which is the most used note. This is the Samvadi note. This is the second most used note. This is the chalan of the rag. This is how you will approach it. These are the basic rules. And this is the time of the rag also.
Okay.
That okay, each rag has a certain time. So now you are free to sing. Normally there are bandishs or compositions by great ustads of the old times, which are used to sing khayal mainly, and they are used to bring out the main effect of the rag and the mood of the rag and the rhythm of the rag. Of course, it is combined with tal. But so within that bandish, you are free to improvise. You are free to create on spot. Because I don't think anyone can remember a Gana of 1 hour, singing, a whole singing, like the symphonies. I mean, in old days, like Mozart symphonies are, I think, 20 minutes, 40 minutes even, and operas. But each and every note of that symphony and opera is already decided. That's also classical music, but that's Western classical music. So each and every note for 40 minutes is decided. That's in the Western classical, and in our classical, these are not decided. Only the rules are decided.
Okay.
You can play as much as possible. And now when we come to ghazal, or we come to geet, or for that matter we come to kafi, we have to abide by a certain tune or a certain composition.
Okay.
Although within kafi, now where comes semi-classical, like kafi and thumri, you have to follow a certain composition. But within that composition, you still have room for improvisation, for creativity. You can say, a sentence or a line in 100 different ways. But the main punchline of the composition will always be the same.
Okay.
And you have to come back to it. And obviously, there is some importance of poetry also in Thumri Gaiki. In Khayal Gaiki, poetry is least important.
Okay.
It's because it's pure music. When we come to the semi-classical side, which is Thumri, then it is music with not so much liberty, and also with some lyrics. And then we come to Ghazal Gaiki, then poetry becomes even more important than music. In Ghazal Gaiki, poetry is more important than music. So the main emphasis of Ghazal Gaiki is on the poetry, on the words, on the meaning, on conveying the meaning of the word that you are saying from your mouth. And of course, a ghazal is always composed. It has a set compositions. All the notes are already pre-decided. However, Mehdi Hasan Saab improvised a lot. I mean, he had a basic composition, but most of his ghazals, which are 20 minutes long, 25 minutes long, 30 minutes long, he's singing one ghazal for 30 minutes. And why? Because he's saying different verses in different ways, and every time in a new way. So the real beauty of classical music or semi-classical music or even ghazal is that the thing that you say once, you don't say it again. You know, the creativity or the improvisation that you showed once, you don't repeat it. You say something new every time with every cycle of the beat. So that's the beauty, where I think our music outshines, I think, a lot of music in the world. Because this room...
This is because you like it, or you have reasons for that?
For the simple intellectual reasons, for the logical reasons that our music gives us a lot of room for creativity. Not just room, it's necessary, it's compulsory to be creative in your music while you are singing. I mean, you can rehearse.
I mean, sorry to cut you, since Western classical music, they have a tradition of writing all whatever they have to sing. So their creativity lies when they are writing the music, and maybe when we are performing that.
When we are performing, it's there and then on the spot.
So you can say these are different, but you can't say that this is better or this is...
Well, let's not say better in the sense that it needs a lot of richness and knowledge
in
behind
practice.
This. Yes. You can't be so creative in classical music. You cannot be creative without being knowledgeable. You have to learn a lot of knowledge. You have to know about the notes. You have to learn a lot of ragas, and you have to do a lot of practices. So that knowledge part is very important. So because intellectually our music is very, very rich. So I'm not going to in any kind of competition, but what I say that our music is world-class music. I mean, it's one of the top musics in the world, our classical music. And that's agreed by every other nation also. Because obviously musicians of each nation, they know where we stand or where everybody stands. But it's not about competition, it's about being proud of our own music. It's all about that.
Okay.
that I am proud of my music, that because it is so rich, because it needs, it takes a lot of intelligence, a lot of knowledge, a lot of hard work to create that music. You just can't just stand up out of nowhere and create some classical music, no. So, I mean, it takes years and years, decades. You know, our traditional instrument sarangi, it is dying in Pakistan.
Yeah, many other instruments are
Yeah,
also.
many others are, but I'll specially mention sarangi because it is part of our classical music. It's an essential part of our classical music. Without sarangi, the gaiki of khayal is charmless, I would say. So these sarangi ustads, when I was very, very young, I used to meet some sarangi ustads.
You are still young.
Sorry?
You are still young.
Well, one should be young at heart, always. So these big sarangi ustads like Ustad Piro Khan Sahab, I met him, he was very old. I mean, I used to, you know, talk to them and all that. And they told me that it takes around 40 years to become a sarangi ustad, a maestro of sarangi. So it is a very, very difficult instrument, first of all, to learn and then to practice, and then you need a lot of knowledge also. So our music, I think, especially when I talk about sarangi, it's very, very sad. We need to, so why I mentioned sarangi was that why I think that our music is very superior. So not superior to others, but superior in its own,
Of course,
you know, capacity.
Yeah.
There is excellence in our music. There is a lot of aesthetics in our music. There is knowledge in our music. There is passion, emotions, spirituality in our music. Each, like the ragas of the morning, like you say, Bhairvi or Bhairo, they invoke peaceful, you know, feelings in you, the kind of feelings that you need to start the day to worship your Lord. Then, you know, in the afternoon time, Todi and other ragas.
Miyan ki Todi.
Yeah.
Is the same thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And the ragas of afternoon, they invoke, you know, activity, activeness in you. And the ragas of the evening, like Eman, Malkons or Puri Adhanasari, they invoke romantic feelings in you. So, you know, each, you know, time, each raga has a time, and so each raga has a mood, and it has a certain impact on your personality. So this cannot be an ordinary music. This is, I mean, a product of, I mean, the artistry of centuries. We should love it. We should be proud of it, and we should try to learn it.
And there's a tradition of writing music in Western classical.
Yeah.
And we didn't have that. Does it affect what's going on with our music today?
Yes, it's a very good question. And I've thought and read a lot about it. I think that's one shortcoming that our music has. It was never written.
Yeah.
Or even if it was once, we don't have the scripts. I mean, some people say they do have scripts of Tansen Khan Sahab's, you know, music or his gaiki. First of all, okay, why did it happen?
Yeah.
Because just as I said, that every time Tansen Khan Sahab or any gaik would sit and sing, it would be a new, you know, improvisation. It will be something new that he didn't sing last time.
Okay.
So
every time it must have been a different
you
experience.
You cannot record it. And then we didn't have a language of music like they had. But then the difference is that their music is pre-decided. Our music is spontaneous.
When you say it's pre-decided, I'm not sure, but I've heard like this, that you can't create new ragas. You have to live with the old ragas.
Yeah, yeah.
Why so?
No, you can. I mean, well, it is not disallowed. It is allowed, but to create a raga, first of all, you have to know the existing ragas, which are in thousands. So I think, as a student of music, uh, I haven't seen or met a person in my lifetime who knows more than 200 ragas. Maybe, I mean, Salamat Ali Khan Sahab or Fateh. I'm not talking about the, you know, the great ones, but actually knowing 200 ragas is more than enough. And if you want to create a new rag, then that means that you already know all the ragas, and you can exercise them, and then you create something new. So, well, I think so. The room for creation of new ragas, I think, is very, very, very marginal.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have many times referred to Salamat Saab, and of course we know Amanat Ali Khan Sahab and Bade Ghulam Ali Khan Sahab.
Yeah.
Most of them represent certain gharanas.
Yes.
So, would you explain what we mean by gharana? It's a certain style of music,
Okay.
and
Yes.
that just remains within their own families. And how would you like to explain that?
Yeah, a gharana of music, traditionally it means a family of music, and it keeps in the family. It is a style of music. It's a particular heritage of knowledge and skill that is passed on from generation to generation. Like recently, I met Shafqat Salamat Ali Khan Sahab from Sham Churasi Gharana, and he said that it's their 18th generation.
Okay.
He's the 18th generation who have kept this art alive. And that's a big contribution. That's, I would say, hats off to all of them, whose 18, 20 generations or even 10, I mean, whatever, they have saved it. They have kept it alive. They have, and not just the knowledge, but the art and the craft also. But it's not that it is only confined to their own immediate family. They have shagirds also, and they do impart this knowledge of music and skill of music to other people, I mean, coming from non-music families also. But I would also like to mention that there has been a tendency of hiding music from people who do not come from musical families. And that has been one of the causes of the decline of classical music. You just earlier asked me. So that is one of the reasons that the common lot, most of the people who wanted to learn music, could not really learn music because no one was ready to teach them the real music. I mean, when I started learning music, I was 16 at that time, and I had just joined Government College Lahore as a first year student. I started going to Nazir Ahmad Music Society, and then I had my father arranged me to have an ustad. I mean, so I had a dedicated music teacher. I mean, I was, of course, very much dedicated to this learning of music at that time. So it was my good luck that, okay, because probably of my father's influence, my ustad ji, who was a kind of murid of my father, he taught me like anything. He never hid anything from me. You know, he just taught me everything and anything that he would teach his son. I was lucky. But apart from that, I have seen a lot of people who were my friends who wanted to learn, but okay, the Khan Sahabs, we call Khan Sahabs those who have come from traditional musical families. So they were hesitant to teach them or to groom them, really. So that has been, and I have always been very vocal about this, even to Khan Sahabs themselves. And most of them admit also that this has been one of the shortcomings, that now these gharanas, who once ruled the musical panorama of subcontinent, they are not seen, or least seen, or heard. Classical music is almost dying. And one of the reasons is that they did not spread the classical music except for their own progeny and their own lineage.
Why so? Why did they do that?
Well, I think it's better ask them, but whatever they have told me that, yes, there are many kinds of, justifications that, okay, this knowledge is not for everyone is not God gifted, it is always in the blood. I don't really agree to all these reasons. And I never got, discouraged despite all these justifications. I kept on learning music. I kept on practicing music as a hobby, indeed. It never became my profession and never will be, indeed. So, but it never stopped me, and never stopped many, many more who are singing these days, even singing classical. I know some Atais. Atais are people who
don't belong to families and
gharanas. Who just amateurs, you can say. So, but unless or until we spread this music, our classical music, we teach the common people about this music, unless or until we include it in our school curriculum or somewhere in our educational system. I don't think the new generation, my children, are not going to listen to it.
Okay.
They are already listening to only Western music.
Yeah.
So there are very, very few teenagers today who would really like to listen to the classical music. And what's the reason? Because they don't understand it. To listen to classical music, you have to first understand it. You cannot like it or enjoy it if you don't understand it, and if you don't have the basic knowledge of that. And they don't know even the basics of that. One purpose of starting Surgyan on PTV.
Yeah, you have been presenting.
Yeah, I have been presenting, hosting a program on
Surgyan.
PTV Home,
Okay.
Surgyan. And one purpose was to, get the new generation involved, so that they should know something. That was a talk show come, music show.
Performance
We used to talk about the music first, and then great artists would come and they would perform also. But the main thing was that transferring that knowledge of music to our coming generations, which is very, very important. And I think even the state, government, private sector, teachers, parents, everyone should be concerned about this, that our children do not listen to our music.
Well, I think even our generation or even senior to us, they also did not own this music in one way or the other. Let me just explain it. My father, he used to enjoy classical music. He would love all these singers, but he would never allow us to learn it. He, in his traditional mind, he considered it's not very something which his children should learn. So there is a denial because of I think I don't want to use those words, but it's job of someone who is
it's looked down upon. I think socially.
I didn't want to say it.
Candid about it.
Yeah, but most of the people had the same feelings, I would say. So I think our society also have a conflict within itself.
Yes.
It can enjoy, but it doesn't invest its time, or it doesn't want to its children to learn that. I think it's not only that gharanas do not want to teach others, but other families, they also don't want to learn it from.
Exactly. That's very, very, I think you have hit the nail. Because these are the reasons why. Because music as a whole is looked down upon in our traditional societies. In the urban centers now, things are different, and with the new generation coming into music, things have become slightly different. But in our generation's time, when we were very, very young, again we are still young, but we were very, very young, like when we were teenagers or we were kids. We had that feeling, and I always got discouraged from learning music. Not from my father, not from my mother, not from my immediate family. My father was a poet and a writer himself. He's a Sufi. But from people around, my extended family or friends even, who came from traditional households, from rural backgrounds also. So, there is a word Mirasi
Yeah,
that
yeah. I
we
didn't
use
want to
that,
say
okay,
that.
in every village there is a Mirasi and, his job is to entertain people. No,
Yeah.
it was never like this always, never always like this. Jahangir, Shahenshah Jahangir, he was himself a classical singer, and he was the Shagird of Tansen Khan Sahib ji.
Amir Khusro he was an Amir, and he
Yes,
was so
indeed.
much into music.
So nobles, in the court of the Mughal emperors, the musicians had the position of nobility.
Yeah, Nauratan, Akbar's
Yes,
Nauratan, yeah.
Indeed. So they were among the nobles, and we have made them Mirasis. So something went wrong.
Yeah.
I
when did it
I
go
don't
wrong?
I don't want to blame people, but I think this colonial period of a couple of hundred years led to our decline in our self-esteem, and so we started to not have pride on our own heritage, on our own language or education system, and we started looking somewhere else for inspiration, for motivation, and for pride. So this is, I think, somewhere something went wrong. I mean, we went into a period of slavery, bondage, whatever you can call it, and that had an impact on our.
I would beg to differ from that, in fact,
Sure.
because it has become our habit to put blame of everything on colonial period. But countries other than Pakistan, classical music has flourished in that.
Just like India.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, indeed.
So why did colonial times did not affect them, and why did they do to us?
Well,
I would just explain, my own experience.
Sure.
When I was very young, I started learning flute. And my flute teacher exhausted me by telling me nothing but just calling me to come every day and learn everything, the same thing all the time. I was exhausted. And at the same time, I have to hide it from my parents. So I think there was something within us as well.
There was something also within ourselves.
And it should accept it.
When I am saying colonial era, I am not putting the complete blame of on our colonial masters. I am putting the blame on ourselves that, okay, that time period probably, affected our national pride, and we became less proud of our own cultural heritage as compared to India, I mean, which had a different, probably, we had the same, colonial period, but they never started looking down upon their own culture, because music was also part of their religion. And in our country, obviously, some people also think that it is not a good thing from a religious point of view. But let me please say this, that music, classical music, is ibadat, is like worshipping, it is knowledge. And in Islamic system of education, music used to be a subject. In the times of Al-Razi or great scholars and philosophers of Islam, and even in the subcontinent, in the Islamic system, music used to be a part of the curriculum. It used to be a subject. What happened that we all of a sudden started excluding it from our lives due to religious reasons? But okay, the whole society is not like that. Okay, some people think like this, the others think otherwise. But the main thing is, music is, and especially our classical music, is our identity. It's in our blood. It represents our blood and soil, our generations, our forefathers. How can we stay away from it? And if we are not internalizing that knowledge and that art, I think we are drifting away and we are losing something very, very precious that we must try to preserve.
I agree with you partly.
Yeah, you have every right.
But at the same time, I think, in recent times, I mean, even before partition, our great singers used to play or sing on radio, and that was one way to make it more public, more accessible to ordinary people.
Yeah.
So how can we say that colonial times were the main reasons to destroy this tradition in Pakistan or in our subcontinent. So, but we'll leave it here because I'll just come back to another subject you had just referred to in earlier part of our discussion. That was fusion or hybrid music, what we call. There are two different points of view about that. One is that it's good to develop and sustain our classical music if we blend it with different other forms of music. And the other is that the classical music should remain its purest form. It's a way to pollute it if we mix it with other forms of music. What's your take on that?
I am pro innovation, pro creativity, pro change. You cannot, force people to stay within certain limits of music. I mean, music has to grow, music has to evolve also, but music can deteriorate also. As long as you're using the classical music to evolve it, I'm for it. But if you are just distorting the already, so beautiful music and creating bad music out of it, then I'm not for it. But for reference or a text, like a textbook, the classical music, which is like Gaiki of Khayal or Tarana, it should remain, unchanged. Why? Because that's the standard. If you touch those standards, you change those, like if you start changing the rules of the ragas, like in Darbari, the note Dhevat or Dha, it is supposed to be said in a jhol. And then you don't do that in Darbari, and then you say that, okay, this is my innovation or creativity, and it is Darbari, then it is, of course, not allowed. You cannot change the rules. But within those rules, you can sing better ragas than your predecessors, better khayal than your predecessors. But who can sing that? If you can do that, please do that. It is all. So, innovation is good, but keeping our traditional music in its original form is also very important, so that we don't forget that this is the classic. Like Shakespeare is still the icon or the standard for all British writers. That okay, the playwright of 16th century wrote it like that, and today even in the theatres they don't change a single word of that.
Okay.
But of course language has evolved and proceeded and changed and altered in so many ways since then, and that's allowed. So I think innovation is good, and especially if the innovation is based on classical music. If the person creating or innovating knows the classical music, like REHMAN, he innovated, and I think he had the world, and I love him. All the classical knowing people, they love him because his foundation is classical. He knows the classical music, and from there, he improvised and he created his own kind of music.
You can say the same about Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan Sahib as well.
Of course, Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan Sahib. How can I forget that? Yes, he had a classical base, and he originally used to sing classical and Qawwali, and then he innovated, he created, improvised. That was Sabat ek taghayyur ko hai zamane mein. You cannot stop
everything changes.
Creativity. Everything changes, but it should change for the good, not for the worse. Because there is good music and there is bad music, I would say.
Okay. We have great ghazal singers in Pakistan, and this genre of ghazal particularly developed in this part of subcontinent. Why it was that? Even before partition, we had great ghazal singers, but mainly developed like by Ustad Mehdi Sultan Sahib and others.
Yeah.
So was there some specific reasons?
We had so many great poets when Pakistan came into being. I mean, people like Nasir Kazmi, Faiz Ahmad Faiz Sahib, Great names, Ahmed Faraz Saab, Katil Shafai Saab, Munir Niazi Saab, I mean, John Elia, I mean, there are so many names. And we don't always want to be in competition, but when we do a comparative study, I think we had a lot many number of good poets. That is one reason why Ghazal became so popular.
So that means Ghazal mainly relies on poetry.
Yes.
Than
Yes,
music.
Ghazal's main reliance and emphasis is on poetry. Music is secondary to that. The success of a Ghazal singer is that how best he or she can bring out the meanings of the words and the adaigi, delivery, the rendition. So, I interviewed Ghulam Ali Khan Saab in Surgyan, and I asked him, Khan Saab, okay, tell us, how did you become? He also started as a classical singer, and then he used to sing Tumris, and then
he was student of
Chote Ali Khan Saab and Mubarak Ali Khan Saab.
Okay.
And I said, okay, then how did you come to Ghazal, and how come you sang such, iconic Ghazal? And he said, in Radio Pakistan, I used to meet all these great poets, including, especially he mentioned Nasir Kazim Sahib and Sufi Ghulam Mustafa Tabassum Sahib, and they used to groom him. They used to, okay, you have to say this here like this, verse like this, and for the delivery of that Ghazal. So he said that, okay, they all, kind of lured me to Ghazal, and that's how, and they groomed me as a Ghazal singer, and that's how I became a Ghazal singer. So I think our poets, the main credit for Ghazal singing, and our Pakistani Ghazal tradition, I think, is the strongest, the richest in the world. Such big names, I mean, we have spoken about Mehdi Hasan Khan Sahab and Farida Khanam Sahiba, and Ijaz and Hazravi Sahab, and Ghulam Abbas Khan Sahab. I mean, he is, mashallah, alive, a little sick these days. He's also a great Ghazal singer that we have. And they have global appeal, our Ghazal singers. But unfortunately, our new generation has hardly any Ghazal singers, especially in
For the benefit of our viewers, could you just please sing a couple of lines, maybe?
Really, I'm having a throat infection slightly, and so I would really apologize for that. Maybe some other time, and I'm not in my form. My vocals are not in my form. Don't get any time for practice these days, especially for months, actually. But yes, it is my passion, my hobby, my pastime, and also, a field of knowledge that I am interested in. And it is such a deep, field of knowledge.
Yes. So how can we contribute in developing or sustaining or preserving this form of music in our country?
Yeah. First of all, I think the government.
Yeah, patronage is a must.
Government patronage is always, required. I mean, I don't mean that government should spend billions of rupees on this. No. Government should give platforms. Government should say just, okay, we are there for you. We will save our music. We will promote our music. We will, promote it in our next generation. And government can make it a part of our education system also. Just like I mentioned centuries ago, it was part of Islamic syllabus. So please, because music also, it is a scientific thing, that music also enhances IQ. It's good for cognition.
So I should learn it now.
Yeah. It's especially the children. The children must learn classical music.
Okay.
And especially when the children are really very young, the doctors advise that when the child is a few months old, please play classical music near the child, because that would help develop the child's brain. It has a lot of medicinal effects also. It's very, very rich music. So children especially must learn, because it gives them, a lot of other benefits, qualities, apart from, learning music. It gives them a good temperament also. It gives them, a way of expressing themselves also. We all want to express ourselves. Some express by, running, playing sports. Some express by singing. Some express by speaking. So so it's a beautiful way of expression. So in children's training, I think even in the Western world, music is a part of school education. So first of all, the government, I think, should consider making it a part of our classical music, a part of our syllabus, and the art councils that work under the umbrella of the government, they should also be given the task to promote classical music among the younger generation. Okay, now comes the private sector, the big companies, the businesses, the profit-making entities. They should be involved to sponsor such projects. And that's where the money can come from. Each company has a corporate social responsibility section. They have that obligation on them. So why not? This is a social responsibility. And then the third thing is that, okay, you have done everything. How would you attract the younger lot? My children will not sit and listen to khayal for 10 minutes at a stretch. No. Their attention spans is 3 minutes to 4, 5 maximum minutes. We have to work on that. So to begin with, we have to present our classical music to the new generation. First of all, in a new style with new instruments, maybe with some traditional instruments, but with also new instruments with the latest sound technologies and techniques, with all graphics that they like, and of course, in a short span of time. Bade Ghulam Ali Khan Sahab, he sang many thumris, which today are a part of the world heritage. And each thumri is 3 to 4 minutes long. And that's it. You just have to, make things like that, so that our kids, they do listen to that. And then as a society, we should bring some social awareness about it.
Oh yes. I remember Hayat Muhammad Khan Sahab in Lahore, All Pakistan Musical Society, and in Lawrence Garden. In
a lot of contribution to music.
Great annual functions it used to organize.
I remember participating in that conference at least 3 times.
Okay.
And one of those times I also won a medal among the amateurs in the classical category. So good old days. And
good old days.
So we need many more people like him, and many more organizations like All Pakistan Music Conference. We need more activity, and we need to promote our music more.
Okay, with this note, we come to the end of our program. Thank you very much for sparing time today.
Thank you so much for inviting.
For this wonderful conversation with us.
It was great, lovely talking to you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And viewers, thank you for watching this show. See you next Sunday, same time.